of this great city. Do you want me to start over? Or? Okay. You want to? That was a test. Where's Kate? Kate, all set? Okay. All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Gary Christenson, Mayor of the City of Malden, and I would like to welcome you to our great community. This morning, we're here to talk about our lead line replacement program. Not something that usually is on the front pages of the newspapers or on social media, but it is one of the most important issues that we have been working on over the past several years. And to let you know that we are making progress, when we first started this exercise, we were at roughly 6,000 lead lines across our community. And this morning, I'm happy to let you know that we are now at 2,800. 2,797 once these three are completed this week. And so people have asked, how have you been able to do that? We've been able to do it because of Democratic Whip Catherine Clark. She has been the impetus for us getting to where we are today, because one of the biggest obstacles we have encountered with this program is that homeowners just do not have the resources to convert their lead line to copper. So with the Democratic Whip support, we now have the resources to do that. So again, I know my role here is to welcome everyone, but it's also to say thank you to the Democratic Whip and everyone else here today, because if it were not for them, we're not here. So with that being said, I now want to segue over to the one and only Democratic Whip, Catherine Clark.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Christenson. It is always good to be back in Malden. And good morning to all our hosts with the city, Secretary Tepper. It is so good to see you and our friends from Beacon Hill and our special guests, the leaders from the EPA at this celebration. It is truly an honor to be here this morning and to stand with so many Bay Staters who are working to honor a bedrock principle, that the right of every person to have clean, clear drinking water. There's nothing more fundamental than to be able to access clean water. Yet in the richest country in the world, there are still lead pipes in millions of homes. But neighborhood by neighborhood, the Biden administration is righting this egregious wrong, and that nationwide effort is coming home to Malden. And it is the perfect example of with our local leaders, and I want to thank the mayor. When we first started working on this issue of lead pipes, Mayor Christenson had already devoted considerable resources to making sure that he was getting all the lead pipes he could out of the streets. And it's working together to identify the problem, identify the solution, and then identify the resources we need. That is what we have been able to do with the city of Malden. And so we are investing in America. That is what we have done that will not only repair our roads and bridges and our economy, but transform it. And we've delivered the largest investment in passenger rail since the creation of Amtrak, the largest investment in bridges since Eisenhower, and the largest investment in clean water ever. Massachusetts has already received $500 million for our water infrastructure, and now another $1.4 million is being put to work to make sure that every faucet in Malden runs clear and clean. And all of it, again, has been thanks to this community's advocacy. And I'm so honored to be able to work and partner alongside all of you and keep up this fight alongside our next speaker, New England's Regional Administrator at the EPA, Dr. David Cash. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
good to see you.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Clark. It's phenomenal to be here. Thank you so much for your leadership. I think all those large numbers that you described, biggest since then, biggest ever, are because of you and your leadership, and we appreciate that. And thank you, Mayor Christenson, for your leadership. We know that when there's federal funds available and the state is working, partnering with the federal government, it's the municipalities that step up to make the changes on the ground. It's always a pleasure to be in one of the communities that we are serving. A moment ago, I think you might have heard the backhoe excavator over there. And what's that the sound of? That's the sound of investing in America. That's the sound of good union jobs. And that's the sound of in communities all over this country where people can open up their taps, get a glass of water, give it to their kids, and not worry about what's in it. That's exactly that right that you were talking about. And that's an investment in our future, in our children, and in our communities. Earlier this month, EPA announced over $50 million from the Biden-Harris's administration's Investing in America agenda to help Massachusetts, again, as was noted, identify and replace lead service lines, preventing exposure to lead in drinking water. And we know that exposure results in serious health impacts, including irreversible harm to brain development in children. So to protect children and families, President Biden has committed to replacing every lead pipe in the country. And lead exposure disproportionately affects communities of color and low-income families. So funded by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and available through EPA's successful Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, this announcement takes another major step to advance this administration's commitment to environmental justice. The total funding announced through this program to date is expected to replace up to 1.7 million lead pipes nationwide, securing clean drinking water for countless families. This latest funding will ensure more families benefit from these unprecedented resources and support projects like that one there and the one that was 2 blocks away that many of us went to thinking that was the event. Before I end, I'd like to give thanks to everyone here in Malden who's working. I met a bunch of staff from Malden working to replace the lead pipes in the communities. We know the amount of work that it takes to get this job done. Meeting with families, assuring them that they're going to have benefits, even though it's disruptive to them. They can see into the future that the Congresswoman noted, that of everybody having clean water. So the work will result in generations of change. Parents who no longer worry about the water their kids are drinking, and assuring that everyone has access to clean water. So thank you very much. And let me next turn the podium over to our partner in state government, Secretary Rebecca Tepper, a phenomenal leader in environment and energy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here today. And thank you, Commissioner Cash, or Administrator Cash, I guess is your title. Yeah, it's great to be here in Malden and to celebrate this significant funding. You know, Massachusetts has been a leader in identifying and replacing lead drinking water infrastructure, largely thanks to our great team at Mass DEP. And I do want to express my appreciation for their really hard work in this area in collaboration with communities, which include surveying remaining lead lines in ground, and the work is truly commendable. So thank you, Commissioner Heiple. Thank you to Assistant Commissioner Kathy Baskin. And thank you to Regional Director Eric Wool. Really appreciate all this work. And we all know that Massachusetts has pretty old housing, with many homes dating back to the 1940s. And as a result, there's older infrastructure and lead service lines. The water flowing through these pipes have been harmful effects for drinking it. So it's critical that we continue to remove and replace these lines. As you know, that is not inexpensive. That's why we, in partnership with the Biden-Harris administration and EPA, are making 0% interest loans available to communities to do this work. In 2022, we made more than $59 million available for lead remediation projects. And we continue to work with our federal partners to fully fund the needs in Massachusetts. And municipalities are key partners in this work, and I want to thank my friend Mayor Christenson and his team for recognizing this as an important health issue and working with us to address it. You know, Malden was the first community to agree to remove all lead service lines in their system, regardless of whether they exceeded action level. Malden's proactive action has resulted in the removal of thousands of full lead service lines, providing clean drinking water for residents. It is because of these partnerships that we've been able to make great progress and why we would continue to make great strides to get the lead out. So thank you all for joining us today. And I'd like to invite my friend Quentin Paltry and our wonderful State Director of Federal Funding and Infrastructure.
Thank you so much, Secretary Tepper. And I just want to echo your congratulations to DEP and Commissioner Heiple for the terrific work that the state has been doing to take on this challenge of making sure that every family in Massachusetts and every family across the country has access to safe drinking water. The Biden-Harris administration has adopted transformational policies implementing the bipartisan infrastructure law, the Inflation Reduction Act, and the Chips and Sciences law. Through this Invest in America agenda, the Biden-Harris administration has made literally trillions of dollars available to states across the country. And the Biden-Harris administration decided to go big on investing in cleaning up drinking water through this lead service line removal program. And we want to thank the Biden-Harris administration for committing $50 million a year to Massachusetts to put in the hands of communities like Malden to make sure that every family has access to clean drinking water. When Governor Healy came into office, one of her day one commitments was to make sure that we were seizing the opportunities that were made possible by these three big pieces of legislation. And this, as Whip Clark has mentioned, in partnership with our terrific congressional delegation, Whip Clark, Senator Markey, Senator Warren, we have been bringing that money back to Massachusetts to invest in our roads and our bridges and in cleaning up drinking water, investing in broadband, investing in the future of our technology. And we want to thank the Biden-Harris administration, particularly Administrator Regan and Regional Administrator Cash, for working with us on this really important drinking water challenge. That said, we have a lot more work to do. And we want to work with the Biden-Harris administration to identify more resources to make sure that in every community across Massachusetts, we have the resources to do what we're doing right here, which is cleaning up our lead service lines and making sure everyone has access to clean drinking water. So thank you so much, Mayor Christenson, for your leadership on this issue. And I'd love to call you up to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, although I may be doing the speaking, let me tell everyone here that I wouldn't be without having a great team to work alongside. First, Maria Luis, our Chief of Staff, who has made it her personal goal since being part of our administration that this be addressed, not just to 2,000, 1,500, but she won't leave office until there's 0 lead lines in our city. So thank you, Maria, for all that you have done. We also have Yam Lip, Director of the Engineering Department, and he too has gone above and beyond on this most important program. So we now have a dedicated GIS map that lays out for everyone to see where we are on lead lines on any given day. He has also come up with an inventory system, and he has also been working alongside Maria to make sure that we reach all of our communities here in Malden. As everybody knows, we are one of the most diverse, so a lot of our programmatic information now is going out in multiple languages. Mikey Neville is our Director of Water Utilities. Mike, thank you for all that you have done. So he partners with Mr. Lip when we're on these streets to make sure that the hydrants are in good state. He does leak detection before we go back in and pave the road, which if any of the residents here in Westmere are watching, we will be paving this road after we're done. We also have Tom and Brian, who are part of YEM's department. Thank you for all your support out on the streets on a day-to-day basis. The next person I want to bring up, I'm going to save for last, is someone who came up with a program that we never would have thought of if it wasn't for him, that helps us target lead line replacements in neighborhoods with the most children. And when we first heard it, we weren't sure that we were going to be able to pull it off, but I'm happy to say now that our weekly infrastructure meetings, this has a standing agenda item. And so far, we've done around 10 streets with lead lines with the most children in our city. So I'd now like to bring up Isaac Slavitt. He's the chair of our Conservation Commission. Thanks again for everything.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Those are kind words, but I'm going to turn them directly around. Research projects are fun. Research projects are exciting. But when it comes time to make those into policy, that involves some risk. And I want to thank Mayor Christenson and his staff, particularly Yem Lip, our engineering manager, and Stephen Winslow, our city council president, for pushing this work forward and making it a reality. This is a time when routine matters on the city council agenda prompt frank exchanges of views, but I think one thing most people can agree is that the places with the youngest children should get the attention for our lead service remediation. And I want to thank the city for their forward-thinking approach to this.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll turn it back over to Administrator Cash.
Thank you so much. It's so awesome to have the community engagement, because then what happens is we allocate resources where they're most used, most needed by the community. Our last speaker represents our two senators who, along with Congresswoman Clark, have been stalwart champions of not just environment, but the investments in infrastructure that will have the biggest impact, and certainly lead pipe replacement is one of those. So representing both Senator Warren and Senator Markey's office is a staff member from Senator Markey's office, Liam Horseman. Liam?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Liam Horseman. I'm one of the regional directors for Senator Ed Markey. Also here is Caroline Friedman representing Senator Warren, and I'm delivering a statement on behalf of both Senator Markey and Senator Warren. It reads as follows. Thank you all, and congratulations on the collective hard work that we are celebrating today. I want to especially thank Whip Clark, Administrator Cash, Director Palfrey, Commissioner Heiple, Secretary Tepper, Mayor Christenson, and all of our other public officials for working to make Malden and our Commonwealth lead-free. Massachusetts has a high lead service line burden due to the age of our housing stock, and we know lead exposure is an environmental justice issue, as it disproportionately affects Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. We are grateful to the EPA and Mass DEP for their efforts to implement the $50 million in federal investment that Massachusetts has received thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure law. We know much more money is needed to identify and replace all remaining lead pipes across the state to ensure public health safety. We will continue working with our federal delegation and our partners in the Biden and Healy administrations to secure Massachusetts' fair share from the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund allocations. Thank you.
So with that, we'll now, are there any questions? Or do we just want to go see? Yeah.
Let's go see.
Let's go see, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, other way around.